Hi guys, so you all should have received the Unit 2, Packet 2 from the substitute. This is continuing with all of the solving equation stuff that you had been doing in your previous Unit 2 packet, but now we're going to add in sort of all of the word problems and the other things we can do with these equations rather than just here's an equation and solve it. So if you open up to the very first page, page 3, today we're going to work a bit with writing equations. So what you see first is a giant chart of words, and these are the words that can be used to describe the following operations or symbols. So for example, in that first column where there's a plus sign at the top, other than plus, we could use things like sum or altogether or all, total, increase, more than, right? In the next column, it's a minus sign. Fewer than, less than, subtract, okay? Multiplication is multiply or product or times, division or divide, quotient, right? Equals, the same as. So depending on the words we encounter, we're going to have to write a proper equation. It does mean it has to have an equal sign. That's important. So when it says to write an equation from the description below, then solve the equation, we have to write it first. So a number increased by 5 is equal to 42. Anytime it uses this phrase, a number, that's where you're going to put a variable. You can use the letter X, you can use the letter N for number, you can pick any letter that makes you happy. So I'm going to say N for number, increased by, so when I look at my chart, increased by is a plus 5, is equal to 42. And so once I have my equation, then the idea is I want to take that equation and I want to solve it using the same opposite operations that we have been doing the entire time. So if I scroll up here a little bit, if I have n plus 5 equal to 42, the opposite of a plus 5 is a minus 5. And so n, my 5s are gone, is going to equal 42 minus 5 gives me 37. So we write the equation first, but then we are going to continue and solve it. So 14 more than a number is equal to 27. One of the keys when you have this phrase more than is it means we're adding to something, but we want to put that something first, right? If you have $5 more in your wallet, you added 5 to whatever was already in your wallet. So if I have a number, I'm going to add 14 more to that number, and that's going to equal 27. So because it's a plus 14, I'm going to minus 14 from both sides. And so n is going to equal 13. Again, you can use a letter X or any letter that makes you happy. I tend to use n because they use the phrase a number. Okay. Let's take a look at the next two. Oops. There we go. 12 is 1/5 of a number, -10. Oh, that -10 should be over with number 4. So there we go. Let's fix this. Take this -10, put it over here. It just accidentally popped down to the next line. Okay, so when we're looking at question number 3, 12 is 1/5 of a number. That's our whole equation. So if I start writing my equation, it's 12 is, so 12 is my equal sign, and then 1/5 of a number. So 1/5, that's a 5, of a number, meaning times n. So 1/5 of n. Well, if I have a fraction, the way I remove a fraction is through multiplication. So I can multiply both sides here by 5, and 60 will equal n, because the 5 will remove the bottom of my fraction. Can I think of this as having a 1n, and then technically I'm dividing by 1? Absolutely. Do I need that? No. So whether you get there in 1 step or 2 steps, we still get 60 for n. So now question 4 says 6 less than 2/3 of a number is -10. So just like the more than phrase, if I have $6 less, that means 6 was subtracted from where I started. So 6 less than means I'm subtracting 6 from something. It's being subtracted from 2/3 of a number. So 2/3 of a number, or 2/3 n, minus 6 for the 6 less, is -10. So if that's my equation, we want to be very careful with how we solve it. Before I can tackle the fraction, if that's a -6, the opposite is +6. So 2/3 n, -10 plus 6 is -4. So I want to be careful with my signs. This is where you have some options on how you get rid of the fraction. Personally, I like to just multiply both sides by the 3 on the bottom. So 2 times n, -4 times 3 is -12. And then I just divide by 2. So -12 divided by 2 is -6. I'd like to hit pause on the video, and I'd like you to try 5 and 6 below. Can you write the equation? Once you have your equation, can you solve it for n or x or whatever letter you'd like to use? So take a moment and hit pause and do 5 and 6. So hopefully we've taken care of 5 and 6. Let's check our answers. 29 is 13 added to 4 times a number. So 29 is, there's my equal sign, 13 added to 4 times a number. So 4n. So now if I want to solve my equation, let's slide up. This is a positive 13, so the opposite is to subtract 13. So that gives me 16 equals 4n. Divide by 4, and so 4 equals n. If I take the same approach to number 6, 4 times a number increased by 15 is 83. So 4 times a number increased by 15 means I'm adding, equals my 83. So now, if it's a plus 15, we're going to subtract. So 4n, 83 minus 15 is 68. And so now we're going to divide by 4, and n equals 17. If you need more time with these two questions, go ahead and hit pause. Otherwise, if you're good to go, you can start working on the 2.8 homework on page 4. Make sure we upload that assignment to Canvas for our credit.